Hello, Oliver. Welcome to Super Talk Show. It's so cool to have you with us today. I think you're arguably one of the coolest guests I've had on Super Talk Show. So, welcome to Super Talk Show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Hi, my name is Oliver. I go to ASW. I'm in the 11th grade. I've been in ASW since ninth grade. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, do you want to talk about your pinball experience?
Sure. I've been playing since I was 10 years old. So when I was 10 years old, I started playing with this team called ML Kings. Got the jersey over here. Um, that's my first team I started playing with. See it? Um, yeah, I played training, like I started training paintball 2 or 3 times a week. And yeah, it's a highly competitive sport, a lot of action. Gotta give you 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Nowadays I play, yeah, probably once a week, twice a week sometimes. But I play for this team called Sons of Guns, or as we like to call it, SOG. And I started playing with them in this, not December. I started playing with them in summer of 10th grade, and it's been fun. We've gone a couple wins here and there. We recently moved up to the first division, so we're happy to be here, and hopefully in a few years' time we're going to be playing semi-pro/pro.
Wow, that's crazy. So, I want to ask, pinball, it's not a super famous sport like football or hockey. So, how did you get to know pinball in the first place? Were you watching matches when you were a kid? And why did you choose pinball?
Um, so when I was 10 years old, I think I was like the first person to do it, but paintball became really big at my school. A lot of people liked having birthday parties, and so every time somebody had a birthday, we'd go paintballing with them. So it was really fun. And I remember one day my friend Leo, he had a birthday party inside like this like paintball arena, right?
Mhm.
So it was indoors. It was pretty large. I think it was like, I don't know the square meters, but it was big, right? And it was like a professional paintball field already. So the difference between paintball, speedball, and woodsball, right? All different categories of paintball is that in speedball, we have inflatable bunkers, right? And each tournament it changes. So players must learn, like the differences and how like play to their advantage, right? And so that was my first time playing on like this professional course. And I found it much more fun than, playing like behind trees and like tires and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So
Right.
after this paintball party, I couldn't wait anymore to like I couldn't wait for the next birthday party, right? So I started calling that paintball place. Or
Oh.
my mom called the place because I was 10 years old, right? And I was constantly asking, is there any open days, right? Open days in paintball refers to like days where like anybody can come and like it's recreational and like
Mm.
people have fun. And luckily there was a day where it was I think it was a bachelor's party. Um yeah, and so I asked them if I could play with them. They're like, yeah, sure, come along. I think they were Germans or like Swiss people, so they were really nice. They were drunk, I think. And so I started playing with them, right? It was fun. I was getting shot a lot. I was shooting a lot of people. And there was this one guy who ran the field, and he was part of this team, ML Kings, right?
Oh, okay.
And he was like, I like how you're playing, um, you should, if you want to keep playing, especially like young people, we love to see young people join the sport, right? We
Mhm.
have practices, we have multiple groups and like divisions that play for us, right? Mm. And so I was like, yeah, I'll come along, right? And so that's when I started playing.
Wow.
And the reason I started playing it, it's fun. I play a lot of sports, right? So I play like right now I play like volleyball, basketball, softball, American football, and paintball, right? And so I think paintball is like definitely on the top of like most challenging and most fun sports I've ever played in my life.
Wow. So you mentioned challenging. Um,
Hmm.
for pinball, do you get hurt a lot? Like how I imagine it is you just run around, you fall down, try to dodge guns shooting at you. So
Yeah,
yeah, what's that
I
experience like?
I can send you some of my highlights and some tournaments I played with and whatnot and like some compilations. But I mean that's about just so yeah. It's a lot of you have like different positions on the field, right?
Mhm.
So generally the positions like where I play, right, it's like front, right?
You're attacking.
Yeah, basically attacking, right? And on the you call it D side and S side, right? And so the S side, like the bunkers, are really low always, right? In every single layout, they're always low. And on the D side, the bunkers are generally higher and whatnot, right?
Mhm.
So for me, I have to like run like 100%, and I have to get into those bunkers first of all, and then I have to keep pushing along the field while there's paint flying over my head and like paint blocking me, right? My job is basically communicate to my teammates, you gotta like hold this position so I can move up and then like shoot this guy so the field opens up, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
yeah, a lot of sliding for me, a lot of running, a lot of crawling,
Mhm.
it's yeah.
What's the rule for pinball? Like, can you walk us through that,
The
procedure in the first place? Because do you get an automatic out if you get shot, or how does that work?
um so depending on the tournament, there's many different rules, right? But generally, if everyone plays generally on the NXL rules, right? National Xball League rules, right? And those rules are there's hundreds of them. I can't list them all, but
Mhm.
um, generally the main rule of paintball is if you get hit, you get out, right? Only if there's a splat. A splat is basically when a ball, right? It hits you and
Oh,
it leaves a mark. Yeah, exactly. There you go. And it has to be bigger than a penny for it to count as a hit, but it's always bigger than a penny, right?
right.
Um, but like with many sports, there's a lot of cheating, right? That's why there's like I think there's like 20 refs on the field, right?
Oh,
Yeah, it's the field is 60 meters long
oh,
generally,
oh, wow.
and yeah, 60 meters long, and it's yeah, it has 20 rests. So you got rests like every 5 meters apart. And so they're always monitoring you, checking, if you're getting hit and all. And so the refs do a good job generally, but there's always mistakes and whatnot.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, basically what you call when you cheat is called wiping, right? There's multiple different ways to do it. You get on the ground, you start, like crawling on the ground to like wipe it off, or you
Oh,
use your what do you call it? Use your tank, right? You can kind of just like wipe it off like that sometimes.
oh,
Yeah, that's a major part of like cheating in paintball. I
oh.
think everyone does it time to time. I mean, it depends on the situation, right? If it's like, the finals, like 2 minutes left on the clock, you're tied up, right? And then you can't have to, right? But generally, yeah, I mean, I do it sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I've done it before, but I think so has everyone.
Mhm. Can you show us the pinball gun you had? How long
Oh
is it?
yeah.
Is it heavy?
Um, I mean, each gun,
Whoa.
or I like to call them markers because guns have like a negative term to them, right? The
Mm-hmm.
reason they're called markers is paintball was invented in the US, right? It was created by farmers. And
Oh,
so in the past, yeah, they used special paint, right? Paint pellets. And so they'd mark their cattle and trees. And when that paint hit those trees, it wouldn't like wipe off, with the rain or something like that. That was like proper, like permanent paint, right? And so paintball gained its first name, war games, right? And yeah, so that's why we call them markers. And farmers started shooting them with each other, and in the past they were called markers. So that's it's a little bit of history over there.
mhm.
um yeah, I forgot to say with wiping, right? With cheating in paintball, there's always like what do you call it, punishments, if the ref sees you. So for example, you have 2-for-1 or 3-for-1, right? A 2-for-1 means if you get shot and you have a hit on you and you don't get out immediately, right? Then the ref takes 2 players off the field, so you and someone else, right? And then a 3-for-1 is when you wipe purposely if the
Oh
ref sees it.
no.
Yeah. And it's
So
just
it's
for the
like
rounds, like
card.
your entire tournament or something like that.
So it's like a red card, right?
Yeah, it's like a red card, you can say something like that. But
Okay.
it's not for the entire game. That's the thing. It's just like for one round and whatnot. So yeah.
Have you
It's a little
ever
bit
gotten
tough.
caught before for wiping, the paint off?
I think so. Yeah, I think everyone has as well. It's a part of the game. Knowing when to cheat, how to cheat. I don't know. It's like one of the only sports where you should know how to cheat in like certain occasions.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So wait, can you hold the gun up again? Because there was something on top of the main part. Yeah, the red part. What is that for?
We
The
call this the barrel cover. This one
Oh no,
or
not that,
the
that one. Yeah. Yeah, that
that
one.
one.
Orange.
So this is a hopper, right? It's there's like many different types of these, right? It's the way it works here is I actually had a pod here, but what you do is you have a pod, right? And then you can like fill it up and like the paintballs go inside, right?
Oh.
This there's I think there's like multiple different companies and brands, right? And each hopper is holds like a different amount, is a different weight, etc. This one is holds 220
Oh.
and it's fairly light. I mean, this probably weighs only like say 300 grams, something like that, right?
Mhm.
Um, the gun itself, I would say weighs probably like, or the marker itself, paintball gun, right?
Mhm.
Weighs probably around, I'd say under a kilo, like 850
Oh.
grams. And then this thing is the heaviest part because it's compressed air. So when it's empty, it's light, but when it's filled with air, like it is right now.
The energy to shoot. Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. So that's how it works. Basically, you have air here. You fill it up with this little knob, if you can see, right? And then
Oh, it's like
travels,
I see.
it travels, and then the bolt fires it.
Oh. So how does a paintball look like? Is it soft? Because
Um,
there's like color and paint inside, right?
if you give me a moment, you can edit this out, right? I'm gonna just grab one from downstairs. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Um,
I
yeah.
heard
So this is like,
sounds.
what's up?
I heard some questionable sounds. It sounds like shooting.
Oh, this, all
Oh,
right?
oh,
Yeah. Um, this,
that's
this is a paintball pod, right?
oh,
So this is you open it up, you have it on your back, and you just like fill it in, right?
ooh,
You're wondering how paintball looks like, and it looks like this.
that's really small.
I mean,
What color? So there's different colors? You
mm,
have purple and other.
there's many different colors.
Wow.
I can just grab a normal equip. It looks like here I got more. Oh, you got yellow ones,
Ooh,
like blue ones.
so it's colorful.
Yeah, but here's the thing. With paintballs, the color doesn't really matter. It's not like you're buying paintballs for the color, but there's different grades of paint, right? So 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, and 5 star. For tournaments, you're gonna be using 5 star paint, which means it's like the most brittle, right? It has a metallic shell, and it just pops like really easy. Like you could drop it from like this height, and it would like burst open. But if we go to like 1 star paint, it will. You can drop it. You can like throw it on the floor, and it might not even pop, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the higher you go in stars with paint, the more expensive it becomes. With 5 star paints, you can probably buy them from like $60 to $80 for 2,000 rounds. And in a tournament, we'll use, I don't know, like 14 cases. So 14 times 2,000, yeah.
So is there
2,000.
like for the tournaments you've been to, especially the World Cup, is there like a regulation on how much stars you can buy? Like how much stars, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would look at paintballs and like their ratings, like you look at like tires, and then, like Formula One, right? So you have various different types of tires. You can get like the soft ones, the hard ones, and so on, right?
Mhm.
And so generally, every team uses 5-star paints. You can use 1-star paint if you want. It's cheaper. Like 1-star paint is like $30, $20, right? But at
Mhm.
the same time, you're gonna get that 1-star performance, right? So it's gonna be times where you hit somebody and it doesn't even splat, right?
Right.
But with 5-star paint, you can guarantee that it will 99% of the times break open and splat, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, there's not a lot of regulation on paint generally. So
Mhm.
yeah.
And I want to talk about like your performance in World Cup.
Mhm.
That happened like probably a month ago. Not sure,
So
even a
yeah.
month ago, probably. So you traveled with your team to
Mhm.
Paris, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah, Paris.
Just outside of Paris. Yep.
Right. How many teams were there? And I know you guys got second place.
Yeah. There was 1,000 teams. But
No.
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Like I said, the before the NXL and UPPF, right, are two separate paintball leagues. So at the same time, while the World Cup was running, there was the NXL tournament, right? So the NXL tournament is like league games, right? So like if we're
Oh,
talking about like soccer leagues, like so for example, like Bayern, Manchester United, stuff like that, right?
wow. Like
So
professional,
yeah,
professional.
exactly, yeah. Um, so yeah, there was 1,000 league games or like 1,000 teams that were playing in league games,
Hmm.
and for in the World Cup for the Nations Cup, right? There was 46 teams, so 46 countries.
Oh,
Hmm.
wow. So was it
Yeah.
the European countries or like w-
Um, it
where
was a lot of countries. I think like some of the first countries that were in the team
oh
last year, for example, Bolivia came, right? And Venezuela.
whoa.
Yeah. They had a big and this year I would say like Canada was pretty far. Um, and yeah, like Venezuela again. He also came this year, so he qualified.
Crazy.
Um, yeah, so it's pretty far for them to travel to Paris for, a
Mhm.
few days of competing.
Yeah, and I want to ask this like question because you do you speak Polish?
I do, yeah, yeah. So my
What do
mom
you
is Polish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I was able to compete for Poland. But
I
like I've never lived in
yeah,
Poland
I
for
was
like
like,
over 20, right?
okay, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I
Mm.
was born in Malaysia, so
Okay.
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. So that just answered my question. So how competitive was it? Were you the youngest competitor? Because you're still in high school, right?
Yeah, I mean, since it was U19, it was a lot around my age because
Mm.
generally, yeah, to compete in the U19, I didn't see generally younger than 16, which was my age at the time, 17 now. But yeah, I mean, 16 probably was some of the youngest players. But you also had like the U16 games, and I've seen players who were like 13 or something. And yeah, 12, and yeah, maybe 12.
Mm.
But I'd
Hmm.
say the U19 games were a lot more competitive than the U16 games, right?
Right. Obviously.
Hmm.
Okay. And so you guys were in the finals, right? First place, second place,
Uh,
or
no, we were in the third place. So
oh,
what happened was, yeah, mm, what happened was we were playing our group games, right?
mhm,
And we had 4 group games, right, to get out of the group. The three people advance, right? So every group had 6 6 teams, right? So the top 3 advance. But that's where the problem came in, right? We tied with someone in our group games. So we won every single game and lost 1 game. So we beat 6 teams, 6 countries, and then we lost by 1 point to France, even though we should have won, right? But there was a lot of, like I said, cheating going on of it.
Uh-oh.
And so yeah, I think we would have had a good chance, playing the finals. We were definitely probably one of the best teams. I'd say we were like the second best team after Team USA. So we were really expecting going to finals. We lost that game. And so we were like, all right, no big deal, right? Tomorrow we're gonna come out again. We're gonna, whatever, beat like we're gonna get into the semifinals. We're gonna get we're gonna get into quarterfinals, semifinals, and then finals, right? But we were packed up, we were all changed. We looked at our phones, so like at the website,
Mhm.
and we realized that we have one more game today because they switched it up last
Oh,
moment. And so it wasn't the top 3 teams advanced, it was the top 2 teams that advanced. So it was really good that we performed really well that day. And so we were like, oh shoot, we gotta play. It was already dark, nearly dark. It was like 6 o'clock. We were all exhausted. So I think that hindered our performance. But we had to go against Team USA.
uh-oh.
So yeah, it was we got pushed immediately into the semifinals. So I mean that was cool. But yeah, so we went against Team USA in the semifinals, even though we were expecting to go to them in the finals, right? And some of their players there, they already get paid professionally. Like I think 2 or 3 of their players play for a professional team. They get paid, I think, like 100,000 a year. Um, so yeah, it was tough. Those guys were really challenging. But those games, they came close. I mean, every round was like probably like 2-1-2, 1-on-1, right? And
Mhm.
then we lost to Team USA. I think it was like 3-0 or something like that, or 3-1 or something. And it was disappointing. But yeah, I mean, what can you do?
Mhm. I think I missed a
So,
very fundamental question, and that is how many people are playing on the field at the same time?
all right. So, depending on the layout and like the tournament and what type of tournament you play in, it can be various amount of people, right? So you have like the 10-man game, so it's like 10 people on the field, and then it's like a whole different layout. It's like a lot bigger. I think it's like 100 meters long then or something like that.
Oh,
And then and like different bunkers, and yeah, it's 10-man is pretty fun, but it's not competitive in my opinion. It's more for like a hobby, right?
right.
And you have like the 3-man, and which is pretty competitive. So like you have 3 really good people playing,
Three
and yeah, so
versus
you have 3 on each side. So 3 here, 3 here,
oh.
right?
Mhm.
Same field as like a 5-man field, but generally 5-man is the regular regulation of like the field. So you have 5 people on each side of the team, right? Each team. So 5 here, and then you battle it out, right?
Mhm. So for the World Cup, you guys were playing 5 versus 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. So you
Yep.
talked a lot about your experience since you were 10, playing in pinball. So to wrap up the interview, I guess, is there any takeaway you learned from the sport that you can integrate into your life? Or maybe about like scheduling? Pinball, of course, it requires a lot of dedication, a lot of time. So how do you balance that with your schedule? And what are some advice you can give to super audience?
Schedule wise. All right.
I mean,
I'm
you're
probably not the best
right.
person to ask this. I'm a bit of a procrastinator sometimes, but I get good grades. Um, yeah, but I mean, I think this is with every commitment you do. You want to make sure you have a balance of like both school, academics, and sports, right? And if you do sports, you want to make sure you get your schoolwork sorted out. So, for example, if I have a tournament coming up this week, I want to make sure that I'm able to complete my essay or my project beforehand, and work on it in advance. I mean, a lot of classmates of mine, they procrastinate. I procrastinate sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, but generally I think I'm very on top of it. As soon as something's assigned, I'm gonna work on it, knowing that in the future I might not have the time to complete it, right? So listen upon Adam. If anyone's had him, great teacher, tells you don't procrastinate. Yeah, here I can show you my medals. I didn't get to show you that, but here's the third place one. And so
So that's the World Cup one that you
yeah,
got.
that's the World Cup one. And then I was lucky enough that there was the Canadian team I got like really close with. I started talking with them a lot. That's what I really liked about the World Cup. Talked to a bunch of people from all over the world. And I was like talking to them, and one of their players had an injury, right, for the league games. And they were like, we like you, you should play for us, right? They paid me to play for them, came back with this.
Way.
Yeah, so this was
So when
second place.
was this?
This was after World Cup. So this was I won third place the day before, and then like the next day I was like, yeah.
Where was this? In Paris again?
Yeah, this was in Paris. Same field, because on the what do you call it? On the tournament in the venue, right? It's
Right.
massive. It's probably like a kilometer long for sure, like 1 kilometer squared. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't only one field. You have like multiple different fields. So there was multiple games going on at the same time. And so this was part of the NXL thing. Yeah.
That's crazy. So you got, first of all, you got paid to play. Second, you
Yep.
got recruited by another team. Wow. So was that level, for the European Cup, was it higher than the World Cup? Since,
The
there was,
European Cup?
I'm sorry, it
Um,
was the European.
the NXL Cup, you mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, NXL Cup. So with the league games, is that what you're asking? Or
Yeah, like which one was higher in
I'd
competitive?
say, I mean, it's a difficult question because in the World Cup, you have what do you call it? You have the best players of your country competing, right? In that certain age group, right? But
Right.
in the league games, you have that like synergy, right? Whatever you call it, like with your teammates, you know how you play, how
Oh,
you act,
no.
right?
Right, like
Um,
coordination.
better, yeah. So you like know each other better, and you know like what the plan is, right? So I mean that was one of the struggles with the World Cup, right? There was so many different teams, like so we had 2 guys from this team, 3 guys from that team. I was the only one from my team because I'm the
Mm.
yeah. So myself there, and then another guy from that team. So it was like a lot of different players who haven't really played with each other before,
Mm.
unless they were practicing, because we had I think like once a month or twice a month we like practice, as like the nation's team.
Oh, okay.
But mhm. So yeah, it's a lot more extra practices that were added onto our like general busy schedule.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's crazy. So thank you so much, Oliver, for sharing your experience. You talked a lot
Thank you for
about,
having me.
how you
Yep.
started and also just general advice for time management. Oh, and I just got a 10-minute warning. So that means our interview was 30 minutes long. That's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, so,
So yeah,
yep.
thank you so much, Oliver.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.